The vice man said that it was a reasonable request to reward becoming the record holder for the fastest base establishment. At that time, Leopold woke up and had a good sleep. He thought that it was a good idea to build fences and traps around the house, and it seemed to him like there weren't more pranks like yesterday. He went to Shinobuko to see if she was trying to sneak into someone else's house again. She asked him to save her, as she was tied to the tree. He told her that if she learned her lesson, don't do such things anymore, and if she had business with him, just come through the gate next time. He used shurikens to cut the rope. She said to him that next time they would meet, it would be a battle to the death. Leopold remembered that she had said the same things last time and thought that she really never learns. He also saw Yes Man outside of his house and asked him what he was doing there. He helped him to come out. Yes Man told him that his tailor made his suit and his pay would decrease due to rank demotion. Leopold said to him that if there was something to tell him, come through the gate properly. Yes Man grabbed the stick and said that he had no business with the special training class. He asked him why he was there. He told him that there would be no classes for the entire day and students then have all of that day to pioneer freely. He pondered that he came to announce that, and he noticed that he leveled up and thought that he leveled up for trapping people that makes him look like an evil person. Leopold felt like he did something bad as he leveled up from catching a human in his trap. He was thrilled after seeing his occupation as a woodcrafter. He wondered if he made woodcrafter his main occupation, that he should have a much easier time creating detailed pieces, and he instantly started making some furniture. He used his occupation efficiently, which led him to work 100 times faster than normal. He was having fun while making a house and felt that woodworking also has its own charm. He carried the stuff over his shoulder as well as in his hands, and he was becoming completely zen just by smelling the scent of wood. He wiped off his hands after finishing the work. He made a large dining table from the timber, which was durable and easy to clean. He also made a bed that was durable and provided better sleep, a toolbox that was very durable and preserved whatever was stored inside it, and lastly, he made a chair that granted a calming effect to whoever sat on it. Leopold was looking at the house and was feeling better about his home. Just then, he realized that the base had leveled up from a desolate single house to a normal single house. He was contented that everything was going well. He remembered that lunchtime would be soon and decided to find some food while he was on break. He went outside in the forest with regards to searching for food and heard noises from the other side and assumed that something must be happening where the others live. Vice was telling people that they all will build a base as per his instructions and assured them that they have nothing to fear, even if avoidance comes undone. He ensured that if all of them followed his instructions, they would be able to have a solid base by nightfall. The students around there got stunned by his words and were in a dilemma. Leopold understood why they were provided with time to build their bases. He was confident that they all would be safe as they were living together and stepped back. While he was searching for food again, he heard the creak sound. He moved around and noticed a girl with an arrow and a bow. The girl was concentrating on a bird. Leopold found her clothes a little weird and wondered if the garments native to the country to the east, which were known as Kanzashi and Hakama. The girl shot the arrow but missed the target, and the bird flew. She was disappointed as it was her last arrow and was worried about how she would face the others with that shame. Just then, Leopold stepped forward and apologized for his interruption, but she responded differently and mentioned that it wasn't his fault as it was only her inexperience to blame. He inquired if she was hunting, to which she replied that she wanted to bring any nourishment she could to the ones building the base, although in the end she was never able to hit anything other than still targets. So Leopold picked a wood and stated that he will give it as a way of helping her, not as an apology. She thanked him but said that this sentiment was more than enough. After all, she was out of arrows. He started crafting wood and made the part of an arrow. Stunned, she inquired if he was a woodcrafter, and he denied by calling himself jobless. She added that in that case, naturally he did not know that arrows were not only made with wood, but also needed something to serve as fletching. He admitted and threw a shuriken over the bird. It directly hit, and the bird fell down. Then he collected a trip bird feathers for fletching and its thigh meat, which was rich and juicy. Thrilled, she noticed that he took down the bird in his first attempt, which she failed to hunt countless times. Leopold got busy making the arrows. Moreover, the girl kept thinking how he catches the bird with just a weapon. At last, Leopold finished with his work, and the arrows were ready. He gave those arrows to the girl and asked if it was enough for her. Surprised, she thanked him, and both of them kept looking without saying a word. Then Leopold looked at the bow and asked if it was a Western bow. She mentioned that it was made by another woodcrafter. Leopold expressed that he was watching over her stance and she possessed kudo skill, so she must be using an Eastern bow. The girl agreed. Then he said that no matter how green he was, that woodcrafter should still have made her something decent and excuses himself. She asked what was he doing, and he told her that he thought he would make her a bow. He cut down the tree for the wood. He started crafting over it while he was making it. The girl realized that the shape was exactly like the bows she used. He explained that Western bows were symmetrical, but easy bows were not, and stated that it did not matter for beginners, but it wasn't hard to use if she got used to Eastern bows. Then he tied the string, and the bow was complete. He asked her to give it a try. The bow was splendid. Even in her home country, she'd rarely seen bows so splendid. He further added that bows tend to be used for a long time, so he did his best. She mentioned that she could not accept something so wonderful when they just met, but he stated he felt like making it, so he did it, and he also wanted to make something suitable for her. Further, he told her to give it a try. She agreed and raised his bow and fixed her target. Liupin commanded her to take deep breaths and asked her to calm while hunting prey. Then she took deep breaths and shot the arrow. This time, the arrow directly struck the bird. Liupin was looking over the sky and was amazed. While he was praising her, he noticed the girl was bending over the knees. He shockingly inquired what she was doing. She introduced herself as Koton from the first-year class 19 and begged him to make her his disciple. Koton was begging to become his disciple and mentioned that she will do anything and referred to him as master. Liupin was awestruck by the word. She acknowledged him and stated that he was able to craft a bow that fits her so well as just looking at her stance. He even saw through her troubles easily. He confessed that until he made her his disciple, she would not move from the spot. Liupin felt confused and expressed that becoming his disciple will be too much, and when he looked into her eyes, he felt that she was serious. He agreed while saying that he wouldn't mind just giving her pointers every now and then, which was something like advice. She got happy and asked if she could earn his acknowledgement through that. He will take her as a disciple. He tried to deny, but Koton started confessing that she will do her very best to pass his test. While he was trying to explain to her, Koton questioned how much she had to pay for her tuition. Liupin told her that he will be giving her some pointers, so he didn't need any fees, but she got disappointed. Then Liupin told her to get along with Monaka for him. She asked if he was talking about Monaka, the representative of Class 2. He agreed and told her that she was the renowned singtess, but because of that, he felt that people around her were putting her on a pedestal, and since both of them were high standing, she would be fine with her. He added that he wanted her to have someone to speak to freely and requested Koton to be that person for his sake. Koton kept sitting there silently and explained that he was the first person who has ever told her something like that. Because Monaka was a saintess and she was a Miko, people were always comparing their status as fellow holy maidens, which only invites discord. He wondered and spoke that if they had the same goal, it means they will have an easier time getting along, and confronted that he didn't force her to do something like that and stated that it would be her wish. Koton laughed and stated that she would obey her master's words. Suddenly, a girl came searching for Koton and furiously called Liupin a damn ruffian, asking him how dare he make Koton kneel before him. She was the girl that was always following Koton around. He thought of correcting her words with his own hands, but realized that she was not willing to hear him out. He decided to leave after telling Koton that with her skill and the bow, she shouldn't have any more trouble hunting. Koton smiled and stated that she bid him. He grabbed the tree branch and got away from the place. The girl reached Koton and asked if she was all right. Koton asked Tomo to calm down. Tomo said she disappeared from the forest the moment she took her eyes off her, to which Koton smiled and replied that she was merely looking for birds for everyone, building the base for them. She told her that she only hunted one far, but in exchange she gained so much more. Tomo felt that she clearly looked refreshed and asked if something good happened to her. Koton agreed and stated that for the first time in her life, she met a gentleman she wished to treasure that day. Tomo beamed with happiness and called it a celebration, mentioning that her father would be overjoyed. Tomo added that it would definitely be Vice, the one currently leading the base construction, and considered him worthy. But Koton denied, and Tomo started guessing by different names, like the hero from Class 11, and asked which noble family does that generation belong to. Koton turned her head and stated that he was her jobless master. On the other side, Liupin pondered what just happened back there with Koton. Just then, he noticed a ton of green onions and assumed that they would generally come from the east and called it fate. He got delighted and decided to use them as his lunch. He brought down the onions to his home, arranged the meat onto the sticks, and left them to get ready to eat. That incident reminded him of the time he was helping out at the pub. The scent of food enlightened him, and he contemplated that food was meant to go with alcohol. Finally, his Nejima was done. It was effective against colds and the like. Liupin beamed with happiness after looking at those Nejima, and when he took a bite, he was delighted with its taste. The meat as well as the spring onions were good. They were soft yet crunchy at the same time. He ate it all and was full. Then he rose to clean up the area, and he saw the roots of the green onions lying down. He remembered the words of the manager at the pub, who stated something interesting like if he put the roots of the green onions in water, the stalks regrow from them. He got an idea and decided to try it. He contemplated that if he could cultivate them, he could have as many green onions and assured himself to find a water source. He decided to go outside to look for the water source. In the afternoon, Leopold went outside in search of water, a necessity for farming, but he desperately needed it as his thirst gradually lost its effect. Just then, he heard a rustling noise, and upon surveying the area, he realized there were more animals around than before. Avoidance was also losing its effect. He pondered while looking around, thinking that a place with many animals would surely have water nearby. Soon he reached a pond, but to his dismay, he had forgotten to bring something to hold the water in. He considered using his coat for temporary storage. At that moment, some students from Class 15 arrived and claimed that the pond was their territory. They insulted Leopold and ordered him to stay away. Leopold remembered that these students were known as savages and bandits from a school that taught some dark arts. Most of them were boys with only one girl in their class. The boys mocked Leopold, saying he was trembling in fear, and that it was normal in the presence of the Pila brothers. Unaware of who the Pila brothers were, Leopold inquired about them. One of them explained that he was so scared that he forgot about their reputation and introduced themselves, Tin Pila, Sheen Pila, and Twin Pila. They stated that together, they were the ones who silenced crying children known as the three Pila brothers. Leopold was perplexed, and one of the Pila brothers asked if he remembered them, expressing their frustration over Vice being put in charge and their intent to take it out on Leopold. Sheen explained that they were going to beat him until he was half dead. Leopold was perplexed, wondering if they used to always be so high-strung. Leopold started scratching and told them that if they were itching for a fight badly, he wouldn't mind entertaining them. But in exchange, Leopold asked for their promise that they wouldn't complain after they got hurt. Tin yelled out not to mess with them, and all three of them ran towards Leopold to beat him. Leopold changed his okan. He plunged towards them with the intent of hurting them. The first smack was over the chin, and the others were on the nose. The impact was so brutal that it made them scream in pain. Tin yelled at what he did to them while Leopold stepped towards them. The Pila brothers yelled in fear, not realizing that they were the ones who had silenced the crying. They just heard a squeal voice and noticed boars nearby. Frightened, they climbed the tree even though the animals ran away. Leopold turned and realized that there were boars around. On the tree, the Pila brothers laughed at him, saying that he was scared of the boar and couldn't move. They mentioned that they could easily take down the boar, but wanted a better view. Leopold pondered that with his physique he couldn't fight the boar, so he changed his occupation to a ninja and plunged towards the boar. Stunned, the Pila brothers shrieked that he was charging in all by himself and called it a death wish. Leopold dodged the boar, flew high while holding the boar's jaws, and struck it down hard on the land. Stunned, the Pila brothers couldn't figure out how he was flying and were bewildered. They fell from the tree, perplexed about Leopold taking down the huge boar. They asked if he was a monster and ran away. Leopold thought that it was an all-or-nothing tactic, but it somehow worked as he used the ninja skill Izuna Slow. Then he beamed with happiness after realizing that there were tons of drops, and there was something he would like to make. He decided to try and craft it. Remember, folks, Leopold's about to shake things up, and we can't wait to see what happens next. To avoid any spoilers, make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for the next chapter. It's already in the oven, and it's going to be a tasty one. Peace out.